Hello, welcome on into this run for Deliver Us Mars. This is a very, very new game. It only came out this month of February, probably about like 2 or 3 months, 2 3 weeks old. And this is about a sub 2 hour speed run. Recently, I achieved offline a 154, and this is a sequel to Deliver Us the Moon, which is a very, very cool atmospheric game about, like, you know, going up into space, but you're finding out that things aren't as good as they seem over there, and there's a lot of treachery, a lot of like deviation between the people up on the space station, and we've got to try to fix everything. Still doesn't go as well. But with Deliver Us Mars, with it being a sequel, it's kind of like going from the perspective of Kathy, which actually was quite referenced a lot in Deliver Us the Moon, for it being they did it all for Kathy. So now we're seeing it from Kathy's perspective of like a little bit later in life and then later on in life thereafter. A lot of it will be explained during the course of it as well. So let's get into a run. So the timer will start as soon as we click on into new game. It's going to be thrown into a load screen, and then the timer, the IGT will start specifically after the load screen ends. We'll be skipping all the cutscenes going through this as well. So here we go, timer has started, and we'll be skipping our first cutscene, which is basically going to be like a little bit of like a dream sequence, or like just like looking back in kind of the preface of why we got to a point here now. So now that we're here, we're thrown into a little bit of like a little sort of like in-game cutscene where our movement is taken away, apart from this little bit here where we can have some fun with the toys. And it's kind of neat that, like, as a young child or young adult, that we get to play with like these cool ass floating toys. I wish I could have that myself. So kind of what's going on story wise now is that Isaac, who is the father, and Dave, you'll see in a little bit that like there's a little bit of a bad thing going on, because he's part of the Lunar Council, and because of the stuff that was on the moon, you know, he made a lot of bad choices and killed a lot of people. And well, I won't say killed a lot of people, but like it's kind of more of the case of like, because of his bad choices, people did end up suffering, and you know, he's kind of been exiled in a sense. But not really exiled, he leaves on his own accord, so you'll see more about that in a moment. So, you saw on the TV how there's been quite a lot of like, I guess like a bit of like a divide between peoples, because a lot of people are living in like ruins, and more of a case of just like rubbles and shambles, and whilst we get to live peacefully. So, you know, he's trying to protect that information from us as a young child, doesn't want it to influence our decisions. So that's kind of what was going on. Now, we will just hang around a little bit in front of that door there, because we can actually get a few extra, like a little bit of like an extra second by just crouching at the door, getting a little bit of a push from Kathy over there. And she wants us to go all the way to the end. Let's just go to the right. It's just like, hee splash. So that's kind of like another little time save that we can do there, because we're actually saving time by not going all the way down to the end to go to the first available point that we can actually go to trigger the cutscene that will take us into this next section here. So we're waking out of cryosleep. So this bit's not really too much explained, but this is going to be like a little bit like later on in life. After a few little incidents that happened within the family, which is going to be further explained. Whoa! Okay. Okay. That's the first time that happened. I've not seen Isaac just launch us. So, just the quirkiness of this game, I guess. Now, here's a fun thing. We can just stand if we want to. Well, actually, Isaac lifted us. So when we get into that little spot there, Isaac kind of traps us in this little circle, if that makes sense. So it's we can kind of stand. Well, he sometimes like it kind of forces us to stand. It's a little bit strange, but like we can kind of look inside our head at that point if we want to. So what I was gonna say before that like colliding happened is that as we're waking out of cryosleep, we can see that Isaac is a little bit bothered right now. We don't know why, because again, we've only just woken up, and he's wanting us to basically take us away and just like, you know, just to get out of here. But there's no real reason why yet, but we'll kind of find out soon. We'll wait for Ace, And this little flying orb here, which is again the ASE that you do see in Deliver Us the Moon as well. I believe it's actually the same one from Deliver Us the Moon that's kind of like continued through and through, who's actually seen a lot of the experiences, has been keeping a lot of the records of what's been going on. Because in Deliver Us the Moon as well, ASE or ACE was able to actually show us holograms of events that had transpired on the moon base. So similarly to this as well, we will be potentially seeing some holograms, but we technically won't, because we're going to be playing the New Game Plus version of this run. New Game Plus is where we've completed the game at least once and seen the necessary holograms, or the decrypting the holograms. But we don't need to do that at all, because again the holograms have already been decrypted, so we won't need to do the whole process of the decryptions. There is one hologram that we do need to decrypt. It's kind of like one of the ones that you have to do, but outside of that, it's just like like if you're doing a new game, you will have to at least like do the customary ones and do the whole process. Fun thing is that if you go into the little bit where Isaac picks you up too quickly, the game goes a little bit weird here. Sometimes Isaac just 180 flips. So let's see if we can get another flip. Come on, 180 flip. There we go. I think my record is 5 times that he's flipped, like does 180 flip, but it's a good meme. We can always do a little count if we want to during the runs. But yeah, no, I'm still loving how that launch was like, that was never happened before, so that's fun. So what's happening right now is Isaac is trying to prepare this big old arc spaceship, basically. Now, there's 3 arcs. There's, I think it's Labos, Vita, and Lambda, maybe? I think it might be. I can't remember on the top of my head, but these arcs are here to like contain a lot of like species of Earth, like lots of fauna, and also try to take across as many people as possible towards like a better place that isn't Earth, because Earth is currently you know, being destroyed by itself, basically, you know, by the people who live on it. So they want to take like the best people that they can, the best environment to Mars, and almost like rebuild Mars as Earth. Now what we're going to do is we're going to kind of hug around to the right, because we want to hit the cutscene as quickly as we can. So we're going to try and make a tight corner. So yeah, we need to board Arc Vita immediately. However, we're not going to be boarding. Kathy's going to actually come and save us before we can actually board. And then is going to be launching into like I guess when we're like 18 or something like that, because this is going to be years in advance. So now we're actually, because we were the family was part of WSA in the first place, we managed to actually then ourselves work in WSA, but we don't want to continue the same legacy as our father, so we're going to try and do the good things. Now here comes the first skip. We're going to jump over this ledge, jump into these 2 little barriers, and that went perfectly actually. Now since 1.0.1, they actually made it harder for us, so we have to jump over the ladder there. And again, like, you have to land on those things, otherwise you will incur fall damage. So by jumping on those tiny little bits, we actually manage to stop the fall damage from occurring, and we get to our destination a little bit quicker. Now we got to those, we got the little like wrist watch, like a Go-Go Gadget wrist watch, to be able to cut open those bits, because a lot of this game is going to be requiring us to cut open different areas, much like this. Now my general advice is to hold onto each little bit that you got to cut for about a second, otherwise it won't actually properly register the cut. We got these little stream points here, which is basically like microwave protocol something, but it's essentially going to be like a power outlet of like how power is sent from one place to another, essentially. And we are trying to connect these points to re-engage power for this whole dish receiver. And after we've fixed all the issues that happened around here, we're now going to go over to Ryan. Say hi, Ryan. Ryan's our friend. He's the only one who takes us like as seriously as possible. So, unfortunately, other people in WSA don't really like us, because again, because we're kind of like tied in a connection with our father, obviously family, and because of what Isaac even did in the first place, the Lunar Council, which he was a part of, as I mentioned, aren't exactly favourably looked on. And you'll be able to see a little bit of a conversation with Kathy later on, that there's a little bit of like that awkward conversation. There's that little bit of like this short conversation because Kathy's just not happy. Kathy just don't really like us. Because again, it's really hard to get rid of that judgment of what transpired from Deliver Us the Moon. Here is just like a nice little cutscene of us driving over towards WSA, for which we're gonna, you know, just get to work basically, go back to work. Except en route, we're gonna be getting a little phone call to say like, okay, there's a situation that's transpiring. We need you here, Kathy. You don't come. You ain't important enough. So we have to just kind of like buy time, but secretly we're just like, we're gonna find a way in. We want to find out exactly what's happening because we don't like being excluded. When you get excluded, what do? You try and find a way to peer in sometimes. So that's pretty much what's going on. As we're going through as well, you're gonna see a little pretty area, like, you know, loads of like palm trees, and you can see there's a little bit dusty because again, this is a little bit like later into the world of life, about like I think like 2060 or something like that. And as we're going through, you then start to see the what was shown on the TV prior, which is basically the area of people living with not a lot of resources, and they've had to really try and make do with what they can, and not even the WSA are being able to actually give necessary resources. They have, like, people here are literally struggling to survive. So there's quite a bit of division that's going on in the world. So
Keep your head down.
you can hear by just like even a commentary here that it's a bit scary, and because like things are getting so tense now, the people are starting to be on the uprising. During this whole cutscene section here, this is like a perfect time for donations as well. So obviously I'm just talking as much as I can about the current environment, but again, perfect time for donations. Now we're arriving into the WSA now, so you can see that there's going to be a big sort of like a gated, like I'll say like potential gating area, so it stops people from actually coming through. There probably is like some gates that rise up.
All right.
But here we go. This is our first stop. So the first thing we need to do is just jump out and make our way and just run as fast as we can. We're going to be taking a specific path so we can get like towards the middle door as fastly as we can.
Don't even think about
So here we go. You want it sometimes, like when you start running immediately, you don't get that initial run. So you do have to re-engage the shift as properly as you can so that you can actually get this full running animation. One of our later strats that we actually have to pull off, we actually have to try to we can't actually pull off without the run. So again, sometimes running is very vital for some strats. Now, inside of the WSA, we're taking another way to get towards where the call would be taking place. So we're going through the, like, the sort of like the museum aspect of WSA. Like, you can imagine that like space stations would have, for those who want to see a little bit more, just like what goes down. And you can see the lunar council there and our dad. Again, even though he's kind of like put upon a pedestal, he's not exactly favorably looked on. So here we go. So here's where these kind of like the awkward conversation comes in as well.
Hey, I was just looking at a few.
Even though Kathy tries to like, you know, tries to be friends and tries to imagine like nothing happened.
How long
just
were you actually stationed on the moon?
She's not really engaging with us. So after we've gone into the elevator and we skip the cutscene, we're going to be performing our very first strat, which can and can't go well sometimes.
Really?
It's going to be requiring Isla, which is our little ASE that's floating around us, to do some out of bounds work, and I'll be able to explain a lot about like how we do the out of bounds as soon as I pulled it off, because it is quite precise what I have to do, because we have to time every time that we're going in and out of the of Isla's perspective.
It's kind of a
and sometimes it doesn't always work. Now, in my last run that I recorded offline, I got it perfectly first try. So I'm hoping that I know the technique well. It's it's all about time, like the timing of how you have to do it. So here's hoping.
You didn't answer my question.
Here's hoping, because it's not easy. It's not easy. So the cutscene should be starting in just a moment. Here we go. We have to run over to the right hand side. We've got to crouch just in this little corner over here. We're going to press C and go back around over to here. We're going to go to here, C, C. We're inside of the meeting room. We're going to go over to here into this corner, C, C. We're out of bounds. Go up into this little corner here. Kind of line ourselves around here, C, C. And inside we are. Perfect. Woo! That is such a hard strat to pull off. That's such a hard strat to pull off. So, what we just did is, Ayla is trying to get towards Kathy quickly. There's like a little bit of like a time in between where Ayla's just literally going to launch towards us. So, if you manage to time the perspective changing perfectly, Ayla's just not going to care about like what objects that they're going through. So by doing that, Ayla's able to get inside of bounds of some areas that they're not supposed to be. So when we're inside of this meeting room, which is where this little trigger here, like literally inside of here, starts the dialogue, we can get into a point of going out of bounds, like outside of the actual vicinity. And then as we go to that little pipe, we can get inside of it and then start the cutscene. This saves an incredible amount of time, actually. So I'm happy I managed to pull off that first try on my first attempt for today. So it's not an easy strat. It took us about like a good like 3-4 hours to try to find a way to get it consistent in practice. So it's nice that we can actually get this working now in full attempts. So we're waiting for a line. We're waiting for like a visual cue where the people in front of us are leaving to go over to another room. And fun fact is that because we went out of bounds, Ayla is just super fast. So here we go, whee! And we go left and around, and we can trigger the cutscene. We hit space. Hopefully we don't get the cinematic issue. Normally, if we see a tiny bit of a visual before that text, then that's what will launch us into what I like to call the cinematic cutscene issue. Because unfortunately, when you get thrown into this little bit that looks like it's just like loads of different perspective changes, just kind of like very cinematic-y, you actually can't play. You have to basically save and reload to then be able to trigger that 20 like 30 years later visual, because that is the cue that the game is working just fine. Now, once we're from here, we're going to actually click F on that little chair just on the outside so that we don't need to trigger it when we're inside. And we're going to be making our way over towards the spaceship for which we're going to be leaving. And on the way, we can see a few more like people, the rest of the civilization just like being really angry that like all energy resources have been put in towards making the spacecraft. And well, we can get away absolutely fine, but everyone else has to suffer whilst we do our thing. But they don't know that we're trying to do good things for the Earth. Everyone just cares that like, oh, you spent so much money on doing this. What about us? What about us, right? Also, H2O, welcome on into the stream as well. Good to have you here. Hopefully you're having a good one. Yeah, all the TTS alerts and memes, I'll turn off whilst we do this marathon commentary submission. But sit down, relax, and enjoy the run. And I hope you do enjoy it. So, yeah, as you can see in the background, this like they knew that we were being escorted on our way. They're not too happy as they try to wreck the vehicle on transportation. So, yeesh, is all I can say.
Anyone by trying to hurt us. Don't they understand that?
No, I'm not going to SGDQ. Well, depending. If I can afford it, then sure. But let's at least like get a run submission going, if you know what I mean. Let's see what we can do, right? It was lovely to go to SGDQ. It was either, I think it might have been last year. I think it was last year. So it'd be nice to make that happen again, if you know what I mean. So we'll see what goes on. But either way, got to run to submit first. So where were we? So again, we're still like having this little bit of a conversation between all of us, and there's a time like again, it's a little bit awkward. Like initially, we weren't even supposed to be going on this escapade to Mars in the first place, because essentially what was happening is that there was a transmission that was sent to us from Mars, and the only word that was transmitted was Moonbear. Now, Isaac called us Moonbear as like our childhood nickname, and oh goodness me, do I have it? I do. So Moonbear is basically the toy of well, the little toy that was given to Kathy, and Moonbear's so cute.
What?
Moonbear's so cute.
With all these shortages of materials.
Hearing Moonbear on a transmission. Yeah, that's a little bit awkward, but Maria, who's like one of the heads of WSA, said, you know what, this does kind of involve you a tiny bit. Why don't we just get you along with the mission, and, you know, you could do the thing. You could do the thing, right? So They don't understand what they're doing to save them. It's just such a
I
classic
believe that
evil
they will
organization. It's thing to say. I don't think they're not evil though. That's the thing about it. They ain't evil. They're just like people trying to do good things to actually help the Earth. But unfortunately, people can't really say that. So it's one of those things, isn't it? They're torn between evil and good, but people can't see the clash between two shenanigans. I mean, technically, this is not a shenanigan. This is actually, I mean, all depending what perspective you see it, right? All right, so we need to run over to this button here, and we need to press it. Fun little fact is that when we land to our destination, and we go towards the walkway towards the space station, we can actually get in front of one of the people. It's very RNG that happens because you just need to time the way that you leave and try to like push one of the people out of the way. I've only managed to happen once, but if we can, good meme. Anyway, so here comes again a really cool cinematic view as we see the sunset like in the distance of the spaceship, and it's super pretty. The visuals are super pretty in this game. It's such like a huge progressive upgrade from Deliver Us Mars. Like the way that Kyo can actually put all the like attention to detail into this game is absolutely amazing. So let's see if we can get it. Okay, so you saw that Ryan went a little bit skew with there. There could have been a potential, but unfortunately he went a little bit too far forward. So it's alright. But anyway, now that we're in, the only things that we got to do is like a few dedicated like button presses, everything like that. So again, this would be a perfect time for donations as well, whilst we just get all the you know, the utility work done basically. So for the meantime, we just have to put on our helmet.
Launch sequence initiated.
And we'll have to move our mouse over to this little bit on the right in a moment, which is going to be flicking 8 switches. So wait for it to happen.
Go.
So there's a fun little fact that you can do here in a second actually.
Go. Cat. Systems check.
Is just put your mouse in the middle,
Oxygen is
and
there.
then it triggers
Light.
all of them. I don't know why that happens, but it's still hilarious, isn't it? Also, Jumpix, welcome into the chat today as well, buddy.
Launch sequencer.
And also,
launch
IG42,
sequencer.
welcoming in. Hey, sure, happy
Fuel.
dude. Mr. Alien Gritis,
Fuel is
welcome on
go.
into the stream.
Liquid oxygen.
Okay,
Liquid
so
oxygen is go.
again,
Power.
2 more to do. Then we're gonna. I
Power
think
is
we're
go.
throwing a mouse
Launch
left,
sequence functions.
throwing
sequence
everything
functions
over
are
to mouse over to the
Pilot
left hand side because we'll be doing some stuff here.
Go.
I'm still a little bit like
Airtight seal.
uncertain on the
Air
order. It's like
check.
this is such a new run that like I'm still having to learn all the little aspects of it, like even for these bits. So eventually it will be second
Sarah, start
second
fuel cell
nature.
thermal conditioning.
I believe we'll be doing this one
Cat. Strong back retract.
here. Yep. There we go. Now for that little pull down, you have to actually like don't fast pull down the mouse because it'll actually be slower. You want to just do it like a gentle
Strong
pull
back
down, and
successfully retracted.
that'll be good enough if you know what I
Sarah,
mean.
bent off lines.
Now, the next one, I believe, is going to be one of these ones, I think.
Lines are vented. We are go.
You'll tell us.
Starting automatic ground launch sequencer.
As soon as we hear Cafe, it's like, it will give us an on-screen visual of what it is that we need to do.
Cat. Track orbiter active.
Okay, so it's this one. And then we need to press D afterwards. I'm glad I remembered. I didn't really. So that's the next thing. And then it'll be this one.
Copy. Start auxiliary power unit.
We got to bring it into the pink zones, and then we got to press F to actually place it. There we go.
Auxiliary power units are go.
And on the fourth one,
Track gaseous oxygen vent arm.
okay, so we're going to put this down to 0. We're getting rid of the oxygen, bring it down. And then click F on this, and then we've got to bring it back. And then that's done.
Eni cap retracted.
Opera team. Visors down.
Visors down. And then we're going to be launching off into space very shortly. So the next one we're going to do is we're going to press this top button here. Oh, this one here. I always get that confused. It's one of the two. Is that button or that button? Now I think it's this button. I think it's this button very, very shortly. So, wait for it. Wait for it. Wait for it. It's such a process to get into space, isn't it? Here we go. Press the button. Then we're going to be pressing this thing. You've got to press F, left click, and then hold W. F, engage. Liftoff. We have liftoff. Go smash that record. That's the plan, Germex. Offline, I did get a 1:54.36. So, and even with a little bit of a time loss in mission 8, or chapter 8, I think. So, plenty of chance for a potential PB today. This run is lifting off. Technically, you're right, because we did save 0.5 seconds in the prologue, so that's actually not too bad. Also, Spin the Yarns, he said, you were just talking to someone yesterday about Netflix Lost in Space, and this has reminded you of a ton so far. Well, I hope you get to enjoy this run, Spin the Yarns. Like, there's a lot more to this game as well. A lot of, like, when you play this game normally, there's a lot of, like, actual, like, a story that has been told through like the logs and like some of the messages that you receive as well. It just adds to like the extra flavor of the game at the same time. Whilst this game is still good in and of itself, like the some of the extra like messaging of people who actually were living on the Mars like base station and stuff like that, and the communication between each other actually have a lot of fun and quirky and unique. You know, just like extra storyline basically, so it's pretty cool. And also Gemex, no stresses at all, is why we did put the pin up there as well. But like, obviously apologies that you didn't get your sound effect entrance. Maybe next time, buddy. Right, Captain Pensive? Rocket Man. Anyway, I think this is the next one here. So again, after we got into space, we got to do some more operations. So there's the next one. And I think it might be these lot here. Okay, so here we go. I got that wrong. And then we got to do this engage again and push forwards. You got to try not to spam the forward click on this thing here, otherwise it won't actually occur. You have to just click once. So you do have to be careful about that. You do have to be careful. Now, as we're looking into space, this is always one of the things that I love to do. When I first played this, honestly... When I first played this, I was just like, oh no, the vertigo is kicking in a little bit. Because you get to see, like, this is a very good representation for, like, you know, actually going into space. Actually, you know what? This is the only time that I'll meme.
Space!
But this is such a good representation of, like, you know, you're in space, you're looking down on Earth. The transition of the gradients from it being like that nice blue towards the blackness of space, and the way that Earth is right now as well, because this is set in a little bit into the future, and because of the way that Earth is, like, the people not treating Earth as good as it is, you can see that, like, there's not a lot of greenery, there's not a lot of, like, what looks like real life on Earth. It's kind of like slowly getting bad, if you know what I mean. So that's why this is all quite... Oh, almost forgot. Right, you know, quite like dirt and just dirt looking, if you know what I mean. So yeah, so the care to detail of attention of the way that like the land looks from this perspective is actually very, very like well done as well. Again, this is obviously like, you know, a like kind of, yeah, like, yeah, it's almost like humanity killed the planet, basically. So yeah, we want to try save Earth. Yeah, heavy desertification. Thank you, Shoot. I'm gonna have to steal that. No, I'm joking. But anyway, this is the end of chapter 1, and we're going to be going into chapter 2 and skipping half of the chapter. We found a really cool skip, and we found 2 ways to do it, and 1 faster way. And I actually got to show this strat to Kyokin, and they had their minds blown a little bit, so that was a lot of fun. So, we actually saved some time there. We saved 5 seconds. Let's go. 5-second time save. So, let's get this run going. So, here's a fun thing. We need to swim upwards. We don't need to go and like swim downwards and go through a little few chasms and stuff like that. All we need to do is do our first out of boundsy sort of strats here. So, it's going to be a lot of fun because we have to hit a very specific point on the wall and go through it, swim downwards without ourselves being launched out, and try to aim for like this little open area, and that'll take us into the out of bounds. So let's see if we can pull this off first try, because sometimes it might take 2 tries, because you have to find like the very specific point. Okay, I found it. It's right there. So let's see if we can get this, okay? Okay, up we go. And then swim downwards. And down we go. All right, that was not too shabby. Again, we are at the mercy of the way that, like, you know, water physics and stuff like that as well. But that was not bad. And now that we're out of bounds, what we want to try to do is to get past this little area that would be on our right. Because over here is where... Okay, I've got to swim down a tiny bit. I'm trying to think about where we need to launch out of. I don't think I went the correct way, but this would still work anyway. So, as long as we can, like, just get out, like, back inbounds, then we're fine. So, you saw that little bit of a push as we went through. That's us now inbounds. So, as we're going to be doing this at the same time, we're going to be actually taking the fast water trail so that it can advance us closer to our destination. It's not actually, like, I still haven't timed it if you have to go diagonally towards this bit here, or if you can go through there. Either way, we're closer to our destination. Also, Lil, thank you very much for the lurk. Welcome into the chat today for our marathon submission commentary of Deliver Us Mars. And I hope that your day is well. So, essentially what we did is that we skipped a whole first section of us basically doing a whole EVA line escapade of going outside and trying to fix some issues that were happening with one of the thrusters. Because essentially the thruster had some parts that lodged into it and kind of like broke it a little bit, so we had to fix it. So yeah, so then we don't have to do that anymore. So we skip a very notoriously just annoying part of the run as well, because the cutting bits when you go out into space can be a pain, especially with the way that you're floating. Sometimes you can't get into the angles perfectly. So the matter of fact that we got to skip that whole section honestly is a blessing in disguise. But yeah, so when we come back, we realized that, like, our efforts that we tried to do for trying to fix the thruster didn't quite resolve too well. So now we're going to go back towards the cockpit and we're going to do a little bit of like a damage report to see what's been going down. And this is the first time they're actually actively just like floating in our spacecraft. So, and this is all a bit of a journey as well towards Mars. So as we open up the shutters, we're very close to Mars. And I like the fact that our mission at the moment is go scuba diving with Dad. We just did that. But anyway, because we just changed the way that this run like functioned in the first place, the missions are a little bit confused. But you know what? I'm happy for the skip. I'm happy that we skipped a great amount. So, but I say, whoa, I was like, wait a second, we're meant to be floating in space there. Our camera just kind of unlocked there for no reason. Okay, so what's being said to us is that, you know, like, hey, damage is done. The only way that we can really continue our journey down to Mars is if we actually just straight cut off the thruster. So that's our next plan of intent, is that we're going to try cut off the thruster and hope for the best. I say hope for the best because, as you can imagine, things aren't always as easy as they seem. So we need to look at the thruster, do a bit of a damage report, and try to turn off the power so that as we're cutting it, that nothing bad happens to it. Unfortunately, because of our efforts prior, it's actually made the electrical box you know, it's a little bit electrified, so it won't really help us out. So the only way that we can actually stop power from going to this area in the first place is if we cut the power line just here. Please. There we go. See what I mean? Sometimes cutting can be a little bit of a pain, so we have to like aim well, otherwise we can lose time in seconds from just that alone. So here we go. So we cut the first two. We're going to cut the edges now. And as we're cutting, we need to do, I think it's about 12 of these. I'm sure there is a faster setup for doing all of this as well, but I don't know myself personally, but either way, we're cutting through now. A few more. Then once you've cut the right amount, it's going to throw you into a cutscene. There we go. So this is the confirmation that you've cut all the necessary requirement of those little circular power circles. I don't know. You saw that coming? Okay. Well, rivets. Thank you. Sure. I wasn't paying attention. Thank you, Shootjacks. Also, Pissqueen Link, welcome into the stream. Yeah, so that's what I was saying earlier. It's a very golden eye watch looking laser or go gadget, whichever you want to do, you know what I mean. Fun little fact, if we were to actually save and reload right now, the thruster would be back. So it's a fun little thing anyway. But as we stumbled and took a lot of damage in that big explosion, Our oxygen is slowly leaking and our helmet is cracking, so we need to get back to the spaceship ASAP so that we don't, you know, die in space. It's not a good time. Delta Muffin, welcome in. Yes, it's going to be our marathon submission for GDQ. Oh boy, that was a little bit of time lost there. But we made it just in time, so we're all Gucci, we're all fine. Now, we're back to young Kathy again. So in these kind of bits of like, you know, like traumatic stress and like, you know, terrifying situation, I just lost a lot of time there because I forgot to run. So we will probably lose a bit of time in chapter 2, so oof. As you come out of that cutscene, you're supposed to run, so time to save in the next run anyway. Time to save in the next run is fine. But yeah, after that, like after that stressful situation, we're going back into memories of ourselves as a young little lass, basically. So kind of explaining the journey of like, you know, of familiar life with Isaac and mother or sister. Because this is at a point, kind of like spoiler warnings for later, but for those who don't know, essentially, Mum's not around. That's all I'm going to say for now, is that Mum's not around for the meantime. So, Dad and sister are here to kind of like, to goad us on and to teach us the act of how to pickaxe and climb around. So it's kind of, it's a fun little physical situation. This is a good little time for donations as well. So if there are donations, then now's the perfect time to go ahead. And also, Street Jack, thank you very much for hanging around. Have a lovely time at work. We'll catch up with you soon as well. You don't want to end up like Arnold in Total Recall. Funny enough, also on Mars. Well, maybe we should try and make a reference to that at some point. That would be hilarious. Also, Delta Muffin, how are you keeping? Milky Crown, the intent is over and done with for now. Like, obviously, it's kind of like, it's neat, isn't it? That, like, you know, it can, like, even have, like, it can really, like, make yourself, like, super tensive. Like, just like that, getting back in and, like, making sure that you survive. When I first played it, anyway, I was very sort of, like, on edge. Like, can I make it? Can I make it? Can I make it? And I was just like, you know, the breath of fresh air and the gentle memories of, like, this game really does capture your mystique and the intrigue and the emotion as well. Like, it's like I say, it's a really well done game, honestly. Like, since this came out, I've been putting a lot of time into this game, and I love replaying it, genuinely. So now that we're here to our destination, we just got to wait for Isaac to kind of, we can click on Isaac, Isaac will give us the tools that we need in order to be able to climb up the walls with the pickaxe. So we do still have to be careful with the pickaxes, because later on in the game, where it does require us to do pickaxing, it is actually like a big pain to be able to do. And it requires like precise like pickaxing, so we need to get to our destination as quickly as we can, so we can jump up and we can hold both of the mouse inputs, make our way across. Now, fun little fact, which is what we are going to be doing later, is that we can just let go, and then we can re-grab again to stop ourselves from taking full damage, and just kind of do that same little process of like grabbing, letting go, grabbing, letting go. Fun fact as well. At one point, which we did used to do that, we now don't need to do it anymore, because we found, well, I found a really cool strat which will take us to a point of out of bounds, and landing on a point that actually does negate full damage. It's very hectic, to say the least. It's going to be a lot of fun to showcase, because it's the bit that we do is pixel precise, basically, where we have to land. It's going to be around chapter 6, I think, when it happens, so I'm not going to spoil too much for you. What's happening right now is that our sister is just like, just so perturbed by the fact that like Isaac is kind of like trying to almost like shape us into being, you know, trying to work for WSA and trying to shape us into being the, you know, into something that he wants and envisions. It's just a little bit like, you know, a little bit not nice, but it's, he's only trying to do what's best for us. Now, I'm sure we've heard that line a lot, if you know what I mean. However, as we grow up, we do end up going to work at the WSA, because, you know, it's actually what we wanted to do, because we've always had a fascination for this space environment and everything like space orientated. So, again, it's kind of like, you know, like if you're training your child to be to go on like a ninja warrior, for example, similar kind of situation. I mean, if you got the strength, if you got the arms to do it, then you might as well, really. And you can see how much fun that we had up there. However, our sister doesn't see it that way. Now, we got to wait for this little bar to come through. We're going to jump over to Isaac and then skip the cutscene, and that'll be the chapter over. Now, as I did mention, because I did not walk for that, like, first few seconds, I did lose a bit of time, so we are unfortunately back to our point of our PV. So we do have to be careful about, like, you know, making sure that we know when we're running, when we're not running. Time to save in the next run. So, what is next? I'm trying to think about what we have to do from here. I think we've got to do this little stuff here. Okay, let's have a look, see. Sorry, I completely got the wrong thing. So, again, I will be, like, trying to get, like, second-hand memory to know exactly what bits I'm doing. Whilst this run is still new, I'm still learning all the techniques of the run. All we got to do here is hold forwards, and then press space and control to go up and down, and then A and D to go left and right. Being careful as we do this. Hello? What? Okay. That's a huge time loss. I'm not sure what happened there, but time to save next time. Okay, let's try that again, shall we? That's like about like a 15 to 20 second time loss. Whoops. It's fine, it's fine, it's fine. So, I think I was getting my controls mixed around a tiny bit, but it's fine. It's fine, it's fine, it's fine. Yeah, like, we've got time to, like, perfect this run anyway, but as long as I can actually get the back it up skip working fine, then this will be a PB, so it's fine. It's fine. Hope to see you do actually the keys. Still, you gotta go to work? Yeah, no worries, Milky Crown. Love a lovely day of work. We'll catch up with you very soon, buddy, and thank you for stopping in and saying hey as well. We'll see you soon, yeah? Okay, so what's happening over here right now is that, like, Ryan and sister, I believe. Oh god, like, I'm still trying to remember the characters. They're already on board, and they're like oh, that's our sister there. So I think it's Claire. Oh no, Claire's our sister. I'm gonna remember the character name at some point. Okay, Sarah. Yeah, Sarah. So Sarah and Ryan are, like, you know, they're over there, and they're saying, like, you know, hey, even though we're already over here, we could use an extra pair of hands because there is a lot of not so good things happening upon the like the space station. So as we're going through, we're trying to find out what's going down and get as best of information as we can so that we can help out, kind of like the mission recourse for you know, just finding out what the hell happened, because this has been like 13 years after Isaac left in Arc Vita. So we got a lot of, like, you know, damage report to be able to, like, handle. So yeah, Cosmo Rick, welcome on in. Thank you very much for the good luck as well. We're going to try our best today. We did lose a little bit of time, but we got time to save in next attempts as always. So I should mention, now that we are on New Game Plus, there is this this little decrypt, like, hologram here that would need to be decrypted. Seeing as they're already decrypted part of New Game Plus, all we got to do is literally watch it and then get out of the cutscene. So you can tell if the holograms are decrypted by them being blue. If they're orange, that means that they have to be decrypted to be able to watch. So now we can skip the cutscene and then make our way forwards, going towards down the end. Now, it actually took me a while to realize that, like, even though the color here is red, it still means that you can go forward. So as we're going forwards, we're then going to be starting to turn towards a little bit more forwards, excuse me. Okay, so we're heading down this way. Now, I got myself a little bit disorientated there because we do have to, like, kind of, like, turn our rotation around a little bit for some areas. For example, we could turn ourselves this way. This does actually help us out a tiny bit to know what direction we're entering. The next bits, we just have to try to do as fast as we can. There technically is a little skip that we could do, but in the grand scheme of things, doesn't really save us too much time, so we don't stress about it too much. So now that we're in here, we're going to turn around a little bit this way. Actually, turn ourselves around 180 degrees again. Aim our stream points to this one here. No, to this one here. To open up the door first, then what we do next is open up these, open up this stream points here. Then we're going to be aiming it at the same one that we just did, so that when we aim this stream point is going to keep the door open for us. But then also open up this little passageway over there, which will hide another stream receiver, for which we could then put the second stream point to open this door. Easy peasy. As we go through, we do need to make sure that we hit these buttons to open up the other door. That way, kind of like can stop like any particle, like any escape of oxygen and or like for bad things from happening or from coming in. So again, we do have to be mindful for the doors. Minded closing doors, as I would say, right? So we got a few things to do here firsthand. The first thing we have to look at is this door here, because we're trying to figure out why this area has been kind of cordoned off to begin with in the first place. And the best way that we can find it is if there's any doors that have been like emergency shut, if you know what I mean. So that is obviously the door that is emergency shut. So now we got to try to see if the MPT dishes or the transmitters are even still active and what we can do to fix it. So let's go to this little terminal here, which will say, hey, if you go over to the area to your right, you might need to reconnect everything because it's all been disconnected as per of the emergency door that got rid of the power and stuff like that as well. So we got to fix the converters and everything. And fun little thing here is that we're going to hear from, I think it's from, might be from Claire in a moment, or Sarah. They're going to try to open this door for us. If you don't look, it's going to wait for you to look. So you have to spam F quickly so that you can actually, get the dialogue prompt as quickly as you can. Right. We got to go down towards the end. We've got to get Ilo to open up this door, and we've got to do this all quickly. So here we go. Ilo, get over here, open the door, change back, head over to this way. We're going to cut open these two little doors here. We're going to be staying a little bit of a distance away because of these little electrical blasts. We're going to try to cut open these, I guess, like held batteries of stuff. They are causing more electricity to be sparking around the way. So by getting rid of this, they'll get rid of the electrical current around the general vicinity. Open up the door. Nick, have a lovely sleep again. Thank you very much for the raid today, my friend. I hugely appreciate you. Everyone, can we get another shout out, please, for Nicktacular? Go and have a good sleep. I know it's late in the morning for you, so we'll catch you very soon, buddy, yeah? Take it all easy, my friend. And we'll speak very, very soon. Absolutely, won't we? So, our next plan of action now, we're trying to still figure out the best order for this. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go over to our first terminal. You don't get two terminals immediately. You have to go back to A, the cubbyhole A for the first one. Like back to it for the last one, because it's kind of make you do like a big circle around. Once you've done the second one, you are going to have the third one to do here. Letter C is going to have 4 and 5. D is going to have 6 and 7, and then A is going to have 8 again. So you can understand like the order of how to do this. So now we're going to get to 4, float upwards, get 5. And there's another door that we have to open just around here with another 2 little points to cut open. In we go. There we go. And we got 6. Float upwards. 7. Now where you start the actual, clicking on the transmitters, is where you're going to be initially aiming. So you do have to try to look at a good point so that you can do the attachments super quickly. Otherwise, like if you're looking about 180 degrees, you have to fast spin 180 degrees, if you know what I mean. And the turning isn't so fast when you're connected to those little terminals. So
Thanks, Sarah.
now we've got to get over to that first little terminal that we were at. And then afterwards, we got to go to the little terminal in the very front to try to re-engage the MPT terminals. Here we go. Flying over.
Let's check the MPT, Ada.
And there we go. That's now going to be triggering our next
Claire, the MPT is fully operational again.
a cutscene per se, which is going to again take us back into the spacecraft that we were first in. And what we'll be doing from here, I'm trying to remember. Like I say, it's the first time I've done commentary for this as well, so I'm trying to remember what I do have to do from here. So we have to head back to the Zephyr 3, which is what it's called. Skip the cutscene, and skip another cutscene, and we'll figure out that things aren't going as well as they could be. We're trying to enter into the actual orbit of Mars, but after having the the thrusters not working, it's not going as smoothly as we had anticipated. So we got a few more of these things to do to try to actually see if we can actually survive, hopefully. So what we got to do here is turn the dials to the points that we need. Crap, 10. then 25. So we can press F once we get out of it so we can get closer to be able to actually doing the turn dial quickly. So F, 60. And then we're going to go back to this one to 40. There we go. All right. I think now we've got to do these ones here. Yep. Okay, so we've got to pull this down. Then up, up, down. Quick. And now we've got to head to the escape pods. So, I mean, we're going to try. We're going to get to these escape pods because, like, we can't use this spacecraft in order to get through orbit anymore. We have to take an escape pod. It's the only way that we can get out. So, there's going to be some scripted little damage here. I don't think you can actually die. Either side is going to collapse. So, once you do get that little animation of the taking damage, you then have to go over to the other side and then make your way through without bumping your head there. As you go through here, the door is going to take a little bit of time to open up. But as soon as you get through, hit F in this little escape pods, skip the cutscene, and you're going to make your way down. Now, Claire is over there. As you can see, it don't look like that Claire can make it to the escape pod in time. So, yikes, our sister's not going to make it. Eesh. And yikes. So, oof. And then we're sent on a trajectory all the way down to Earth. So we got to try to stabilize ourselves on the way down. Can we pay some respects in the chat for Claire? Unfortunately, losing their life on the exploding spacecraft. So respects in the chat. Respects. And here's a fun little thing. It does tell you that you got to do some stuff here. You don't need to worry. It's all the same time. So we can just like chill. We can chillax as we're slowly cruising, not scarily at all, down towards Mars's atmosphere and Earth. So, how convenient. And again, the true force of our speed going down, like setting our like the crown of the base of this escape pod on fire. And once we're into the atmosphere, the fire goes away. And this is where the fun begins because there are some fun strats coming up in Chapter 4, so I'm looking forward to doing this, and hopefully we can get it all first try. We'll see what happens. And it's going to be snowing tonight. Ooh, well, I hope you get to do a snow angel. That'd be fun. Loki, welcome on into the chat. Hopefully you're having a lovely day so far. Welcome on into the stream. So, it's going to set off a parachute anyway. Like, normally, like, it's trying to say, like, hey, stabilize yourself. He's going to set the parachute off, but thank you very much for the follow. Welcome into the chat today as well. All tricks are first try, every try. Well, you know that islet out of bounds skip that we do in Chapter 1? We did get it first try, so it's going pretty well. So far, it's going pretty well. I'll have you now. Crash. Because that is actually quite hard, because we have to flip between perspectives of Isla, like the ASE and ourselves. And you have to time it well so that you can go through objects and stuff, and we did it first try. So I'm very happy. Now, as we're making our way towards the sort of like the construction site of the Mars base station, or like, you know, like where they're just kind of like doing a load of like digging to get like extra resources and stuff like that. Perfect time for donations as we're going to Chapter 4. So here we go, some more time for donations. And Mars's Earth is atmosphere of Earth. I said and Earth. I might have said and quickly. That sounded like oh, but yeah, Mars's atmosphere and Earth, or sand, if you want to say it like that. But anyway, for sure. So,
Did you make it?
it's like I say, it's crazy how like the whole game is like building its narrative, building a story that like even within the first 3 chapters is already nearly like an hour of the run. Obviously, the next hour is going to go through like a good many chapters super quickly because there is like one full chapter skip that we're going to do. So we get to save a ton of time by doing that. So it's there's a lot going for it. There's a lot going for this run. Now, there's still chances for this game to be broken. We're going to see how it happens. But at the same time, still getting this game, which is again very narrative heavy, into a sub 2 hour is still fantastic. Nardwhite, welcome into the chat today. Welcome into my submission run that we're recording for Games Done Quick, for Summer Games Done Quick. And so far it's going alright. We did lose a little bit of time here and there, but like still a chance for a potential PB. But even if we don't get a PB, we're still going to submit this run because it is going to be a good demonstration of everything that we're doing here. Oh, that's what you heard. You accepted as fact. Gotcha. Now that we get ourselves into this little bit, it's going to start auto-walking for us to a point where we're going to overlook just the construction and the area of what Isaac and crew left, basically. Again, just like in Deliver Us the Moon, where like there was nobody there by the time we got there. Very similar situation for Deliver Us Mars, because as you play the game, you get to find out a bit more of the why. We do skip it a lot, but I'll be able to say exactly kind of what went down. So, again, we've heard nothing in 13 years apart from Moonbear, and that's it. So, unfortunately, we did lose a little bit of extra time, but we can save it later on. So, oof, come on. Oof, come on. Oof, oof, oof. Time to save anyway. So, now that we're in Chapter 4, because of the way that we crash landed, we may not be able to survive soon. So, we've got to try and find somewhere ASAP that may have oxygen, because similarly to when we were in outer space, as within our, trying to fix our stuff, we're again on the last, 25%, so get into anywhere that may have oxygen. But it's surprising, because even though it has been 13 years, somehow they still got oxygen. So as we go into here, you have to stand on these little pads, by the way, to actually open the door. Right there, there's a load of oxygen, and it's just replenished your oxygen, so there's a lot that we don't quite understand just yet, so we got to try to figure out, again, the why there is just randomly a lot of oxygen for us to regain. So, now that we're in here, you can see just how much work has kind of been going down, and, you can definitely see that they have not finished what they started, because, similarly to Deliver Us the Moon, again, people kind of turned against each other, and it didn't resolve into a pretty situation. So, but a lot of the MPT tech that exists back on Earth and Moon does exist here as well, because they actually did start to make more terminals and situations for more power to be generated and received. So now that we've done all the 3 looky points, we kind of looked at how to get to transportation, and also how to get up to a point of transportation. We can now make a way to do what I like to call the AMA or AMA scaling. So a runner by the name of AMA004, not on the leaderboards, but they have done a run which we basically took the basing from. Found that you can kind of scale across this way and skip a load of things. So I did this wrong, so I might have to reset in a moment, but we'll keep on going and see what happens. Oh. Nah, unfortunately that's a time loss, so I would not have been able to save it, so we're going to have to reset. So this, again, we can still potentially PB, but if you don't get it first try, you do have to redo it, because it is quite precise where you do have to jump and land. So let's see if we can get a second try, shall we? Let's see what we can do. So we've got to fall down here to make sure that we can get down to this little section here quickly without taking too much fall damage. Jump up to this area, go down to the second little point here, and then we're going to jump across to this one here, jump across again over to this bit, please. There we go. Phew. Just jump into this tiny little ledge here, jump around to this little ledge, jump into this one, and then you're on the necessary areas to be able to fall down to just here. Okay, so now that we're up to where we need to be correctly, this little bit, obviously we're not really supposed to be around here at this time, so it does have a few extra invisible walls. You're going to jump into this little ledge here, then jump up a little bit further, get on top of the building, then make your way over to the other side, which would save a whole, a whole journey around, so we get to save a load of time by doing this. Get in, and then we've got to connect the two MPT points, and then we're back on basically what the story is actually meant to be. So we just saved a lot of time by doing that, basically. Obviously, we lost time because I didn't get it right the first time, But again, time to save later on.
MPT power reduction.
We've got to put the dampener in the middle.
Reduced on contact.
Our camera's going to be locked and fixed, so we do need to walk backwards at a point. And now we're going to be coming up to what I like to call the Usher Yeah beam.
Okay.
Because the two notes that exist as part of this, like this antenna, goes do-dip, do-dip, do-dip. It's the Usher Yeah beam. Anyway. I make Kyokan laugh hard when I mentioned that. I don't think they actually knew. They actually put 2 and 2 together, even during Deliverer's Moon and Mars. And I said that to them. They were like, I love this. I love everything about this. So, it's amazing. Need to pull off since we're arriving on Mars. Time is coming up shortly. God, imagine if that is actually like a meme category of like, got to Mars, the end. We could totally make that though. We totally could. Right, now that we've actually done this little section here, this door is going to open up for us, so we can get over to the elevator and make our way up towards the rovers. However, as you can probably expect, things aren't going to go as smoothly as it could be made out to be. So, yeah, we're going to have to do some more scaling again, and making sure that we can actually get to our proper destination. Yeah, deliver us to Mars. Exactly, Mars Ascent. Screw it, I might have to make the category. That's hilarious. That is actually hilarious, like, and it actually could be a nice, like, technically sub 1 hour run. Yeah, screw it. Like, remind me to make that category, Loki. I'm down. As a miss category. Alright, so first thing we're going to do is, once this has become flat, the door's going to open up for us, and we're going to have to jump and hold our mouse buttons to make sure that we can actually land onto these rocks and start to scale. Be careful as you're scaling again, because you have to get yourself past this point. On the bits that aren't like kind of like a little bit rocky and flat, you can't actually put your axis in, so you do have to be careful. Welcome in, artificial human relations. Welcome on in. All right, let's see if I can get this little jump here. Let's see if I can do this. No, sadly I didn't. So, really? What? I didn't have enough like distance to be able to jump up at all, so I lost a bit of time there. Okay, let's just do this normally. Anyway, you meant to jump up and hit this point, but because when I was jumping, I didn't even get to such a point, I lost time. But what I was supposed to do was be able to jump over to that little gap, like that little just like metal bit. You could jump on top of that. Okay, so this is what I'm talking about here. When you jump in these little, like you try to axe into these flat bits, you can't actually axe them. So you have to be careful where you're axing. Otherwise, it could just launch you off. You got to be careful. I'm probably going to have to do another run after this, honestly. So let's try and scale correctly. Otherwise, we're going to lose more time. Okay, so sometimes it launches you off if you're not careful with your mouse operation. There is some accessibility to make it easier for you, but it'll take a lot of, like, you know, brain training to actually get this perfect for speedruns. So what we can do now is we can jump across, head through this little gap here, and make our way up towards, like, these rotating fans, which will take us up further towards another scaling point where the rovers are. Maggie was taken. Welcome on into the stream. Good to have you here. Accessibility options that make stuff easier. I mean, here's the thing. It's kind of up to, down towards the speedrun community. Seeing as I am the speedrun community, you can have accessibility if you want to. There's no limitations. If it's easier for you, then go for it. If it's hard, it's not really gonna, like, deter too much about the time of the run. Genuinely, it's just more of a case of, like, you know, if it is more accessible, then go for it, because otherwise you have to like, you know, you have to hold and click the mouse so much, if you know what I mean. So it's not easy. All right, as you can see by the time loss is happening, so we need to fast forward a little bit more. It's going to drag our camera a little bit towards that point there, so we need to make sure that we're walking backwards at this point. And we're going to be having our camera pulled a little bit again after we see Claire, like memories of Claire, because, you know, we're kind of like reminiscing of our sister, because, you know, unfortunately we lost them in the spaceship. So as we are making our way through, we're kind of like, we were in the rover, being a little bit more like, you know, just sad and you know, just a little bit like upset about the fact that we just went through a loss, and this is kind of just memories of, if you know what I mean. So, here we go. I mean, here's the thing, artificial human relations. I'm not going to comment too much about it because we are doing our GDQ submission as well. However, the matter of fact that there are charity marathons which are raising money for amazing causes, that is the most important thing. And the charities that they raise money for is the most important thing. People forget about that. People overlook it all the time.
I can hear you.
The charity is the most important thing. The matter of fact that these runners are doing something amazing for charity is the most important thing. Scrap, like,
She did.
we have to remember it's about the charity. So, I'm just going to say that, like, very bluntly and very acutely, that, again, we have to remember, the amount of money that is being raised for charity goes towards fantastic and amazing causes. And we have to remember that, like, even if it doesn't matter about, like, who the runner is at the point, the matter of fact that they're doing a good thing for that moment, the charity is the importance. So, there we go. Anyway, now that we're into chapter 5, we got to try and get up into this this vehicle here, which is like one of the arcs that are on Mars right now. And again, we got to try and figure out what's been going down, because again, you think there might have been a welcoming committee, but no, there isn't. Okay, that was weird. It wouldn't let me get out there for some reason. For some reason, like, I was like hitting that little point there, that I guess I was like at a point there thinking that I was a little bit elevated, that I couldn't actually get out. So unfortunately, the game made me lose time there. Okay, very cool. Game, very cool. So now we're on the elevator up. So whilst we're in this elevator, would be a perfect point for donations as well. Jimmy Janga, RE4R remake SR on the steering, DJ Hero controller. How about I do it on the DJ Dex, Jimmy Janga? How about I do it on the DJ Dex, right? How's about I get a DJ Dex out for that one? We could have some fun, yeah? Instead of it being a DJ Hero controller, why not just a full-fledged DJ controller? Right? Yeah? Okay, cool. Perfect. With the two teams that were both donated to charity, it was just so fun to watch. Hell yeah, man. Like, again, like, they have hosted some fantastic rounds as well, so... Oh, let's go. Donation per mistake death. That's basically what I did as well for recent ESA run with Selena. I donated £10 per death, and yeah, it's good. So now that we're actually in the Ark, this also has oxygen. So there's something on board the Ark right now that is actually generating oxygen. So again, we need to figure out what on earth is happening. See what I did? What on earth? Anyway, so as we're having like a little bit of a catch up with Ryan, we have to wait for him to head into this point here.
I know how much you meant to Sarah.
Hurry up.
I can't even.
Oh, come on.
I'm so sorry.
Let's just...
Come on, walk on it. You're making us lose time. Really? Really? Oh my god, that's a huge time loss. Sometimes he just doesn't walk, so I just lost so much time there. Alright, so we're going to be trying to cut open these little areas again. Making sure that you hold on this as much as you can. Bring this over. We're going to do one beam here, another beam there. Letting go. Oh. Okay, letting go. Getting Isla out because I was supposed to do that, but I pressed C on the wrong thing. Bringing this through. Bringing it up. There we go. Here. Let it go. Then we're going to press R on this. And then press R again. Then press... oh, God. I need to press C on here. Then press F. There we go. There we need to down. You can do that fast. There is fast ways to do that, but again, it's all about like getting comfortable and cozy. First run of the day, so I'm going to make a few mistakes, but either way, let's get the run going through. Technically, this is like the Alien Isolation slow axle of the game, so yes, you're not wrong. Now, I always forget that like when you come out of that little section, you always spawn at like facing the wrong way that you need to go. So you need to make sure that you turn around first and then make your way through. So here's going to be some fun little strats coming up shortly. We are going to be doing what I like to call the reach around because I just decided to call it that right now, but it's not really a reach around. But what we're going to be doing is that we're going to be using Isla to kind of position a dampener at a point of the door, and we're going to be able to reach through the door to be able to actually get the dampener earlier than we should be able to. Once we got the dampener from there, we're going to be doing an even cooler little strat, which is you'll see. Basically, it's kind of a fun little strategy that I think that Clash Code, the other member of the speedrun community at this current time, again, we are looking for more runners, so if you are intrigued to run this game, then please hit us up in the Discord or the speedrun.com/deliver as Mars. And let's see if we can get this first try, shall we? So, here we go. So we're going to be running very shortly, all the way down to the end of this hallway. So we don't get to run immediately because like we're still in this like this conversational bit. So now that we've got it, we're gonna use Isla. We're gonna turn on our flashlight. We're gonna be getting this dampener here, rolling over to here, aiming it just around here, letting go, and we should be able to grab it through the door, taking it through, turning our backside to this, pressing F, which will launch us all the way up, jumping on an invisible barrier, then jumping and running and making it over to the other side. First try, lovely. That was amazing. That was an amazing first try. That could have not gone more perfect. So I think in correspondence to my last PB, that actually is a time save. So that went flawlessly. Getting on that little invisible barrier is not the easiest thing in the world because you have to know how big of the invisible barrier there is to be able to jump. So that was all like perfect timing, like perfect balance. I am very, very satisfied with that. So this is one of my most hated climbing sections, so I'm going to go a little bit more quiet in this whilst I focus up. There we go. Come on. Okay, zone alright. That was close! No! That's why I hate it! No! Oh! When you get that one twang, then it can throw you off completely. Damn it! I was hoping not for this. I was hoping not. Oh, I was so close. Okay, let's try it one more time. So I'm going to be probably doing another run attempt after this, and with a similar kind of commentary. But that is a pain when that happens. So yeah, you see right there, for example, you need to aim just promptly so you can get around it. If anything, you should go in between. You should have your body in between these little bits, just to like make it a little bit easier. But again, you can't predict it. Basco, welcome into the chat today. Good to see you here as well. Come on. Okay, there we go. I think in my last run, I didn't take a death there, so there is no marathon safety. There is no marathon safety. If you make your way up, you make your way up. If you fall, you fall. There is no other way to go around there, unfortunately. So that is a point where I could lose some time. But again, we can make it up easy. At least in this round. Because it's still going to be sub 2 regardless, I reckon. Alright, jumping across. You can double tap the jump to get yourself up a little bit faster. As long as you can actually get to the next bit fast enough. And then we're going to jump across here. Do another opening of the MPT transceiver. And it's going to throw us into a cutscene. Yeah, that's probably what I will do in actual, like, you know, marathon run. But again, I'm just showing off, like, you know, how notorious it can be anyway. Vasco, thank you so much for the 3 months of sub, my buddy. Our alerts are currently off whilst we do this marathon commentary run, but hugely appreciated. You might see your alerts in about 15 minutes or so because all the alerts will be stacked up. And it's good to have you back, my friend. Hopefully you had a lovely, lovely time. I think you were on holiday, weren't you, I think, if I remember correctly? I think I remember you talking about going on holiday and stuff, so hopefully your time recently has been good. Alright, so all we got to do now is look at 6 different things which actually make the the whole engine for the creation of energy and life in this bit, because this big old orb behind us is generating 600 kilowatts under the sun, I think it is. If I remember correctly how much energy it is producing, so whatever's going on in there, it's delivering a lot of power right now. Like a lot of power, if you know what I mean. So, here we go.
This is what I think it is. 600 watts.
600 watts from the setting sun. There we go. It's close enough, if you know what I mean. I remembered something. So we're going to try to put Sarah, like, click on Sarah as, like, the last area, because then it's going to be closer towards the, where
the stream receiver is destroyed.
You know, just like where the next cutscene trigger will happen. I don't know if it will trigger from any point, but it's always nice to just, like, end up at Sarah at this point. From here, what we're then going to be doing...
Hey, honey.
is I forget. So we'll find out very shortly, won't we? Again, I will have better commentary and hopefully somebody else to help me commentate this run, because there is a lot of stuff that goes on during the course of it.
Talk about what you said downstairs.
By the way, Sarah's not looking too hot at the moment. During the escape pod down, it actually opened up a bit of like, you know, like a bit of like war injuries from the past as well. So she's hurting. She's hurting right now. So, okay, I remember. So we're going to be doing another island thing here, but we won't be going any kind of like out of bounds. We're just going to be, I actually don't know if we can do out of bounds yet. Come on, there we go. So we're going to be trying to take Isla up to kind of like, again, peer on the conversation because they think that we can't find ways to peer on them. And we're going to find out that, like,
I'm not sure I want
what
to.
their true intentions of coming up into Mars is in the first place. We're hoping that we can try and find our dada, our father, and make him come quietly. Or if it's not quietly, then there's a plan B that involves coercement. Some kind of coercement, aka something prodded into our backs. Well, not our back, but into Isaac's back, and to bring him back to Earth to face the charges of like you know, just you know, all the bad things that he committed and the Lunar Council committed as well. So it's kind of just like we don't want to really get in the middle of it. So we're gonna try to just like, well, we know exactly what's going on, but we're gonna try to have like an ulterior motive for you know, trying to do our own thing because we know too much basically. So we're going to try and get out of here and then try and find out if there's any other life on Mars our own way. Without these two, because we can't exactly trust them at the moment. So we're going to be pressing C in a moment so that we can get back out and then trigger the next cutscene into Chapter 6, for which we'll be doing a huge chapter skip, which is something that I discovered, and I'm very, very proud of finding this as well. Okay, so we head back. There we go. All right, so this is where the fun begins. This effectively saves 13 to 14 minutes of the game. And it is a very huge find that I discovered. Fun fact, when I actually found this, like it was literally just like not even a minute after Clash Code actually left a voice call. And I was just like, you need to get back here, I found the thing. So I'll explain it as we get closer towards the actual, like when we're pulling off the strap, because it's a lot to go through. It's a lot to go through, but it's one of my favorite speedrun strats I've ever found. It's just a full chapter skip. It's amazing. So what we got to do is we got to try and get over to a point where we can park our car and then kind of like look across to see if this new terrain that we're in, by the way, this is actually snow. Yes, there is snow on Mars. Use Google to find out why. I'm not going to tell you. It's time for you to do some educational purposes of finding out reasons for why certain things may exist on Mars, which we think, oh, it must be just an area of just like rubble and dirt. No, there's snow in here. Use Google. So yeah, once we've like tried to see if there is any other signs of life, we do kind of see that there is some kind of form of life, if you know what I mean, but not really.
Sarah, I just arrived.
So yeah, we're trying to access this facility over here to see if there's anything of interest. And we see, like, just over there, there's some lights on. Yo, Bloomy, welcome into the chat today. Welcome into some marathon commentary. Recording our GDQ submission, so we're hoping that we can get this run going good. So yeah, so obviously, as we defied Sarah and Ryan, we said, like, you know, okay, we're on our way. However, seeing as you're there, why don't you do the research for us, right? And we see that there are some lights on over there, so we want to try and find a way to get down there. So we're going to hit this little invisible wall, and we will miss it the first time. This is a very hard strat to pull off. We need to land at a very specific pixel-perfect point. So we need to hit an invisible barrier. Just there. Damage negation is done. So we hit the pixel-perfect, and then we need to jump around. Landing on this, it's quite hard to pull that one off. And then we're going to fall down to our right here. We got to do this precisely so that we can keep damage negation. And then falling down onto another invisible wall. And falling down, and now we're outside. Now we're technically out of bounds. So as we're going out of bounds, we're going to try to make our way over to like the cave that we would end up at. And a fun fact is that at this point of the cave is just a whole cutscene trigger for the transition into Chapter 7. You can access it anyway as long as you basically hit where it rains. And by doing that, you skip all of this chapter. This was like such an unintentional find. I did not even think I'd be able to find this, but basically this is where you do like the final climb up on this big old middle icicle. And we hit it. And Chapter 7. Into Chapter 7. We just skipped all of the chapter. I'm so happy I found that. Honestly, I'm so happy I found that. Thank you very much for the follow. Welcome into the chat. Hopefully, those who are hanging out with us today are enjoying the vibes. And again, if you do want to follow, we do have our anonymous follows, so you can follow without being called out at any time. And you can kick back, relax, and look. So, what did we skip? Basically, we skipped a whole area that had basically green life. You know, like greenery and everything like that. So we knew that, like, whatever they were making in here was able to actually replicate all, like life that had been lost on Mars. As in, like you know, actual, you know, oxygen-producing life. Because that's another thing that was happening on Earth, is that, like, all of the things that were producing oxygen had slowly withered away, you know what I mean? So now that we found that, we were coming back to figure out what is going on. We had to talk to like people, say like, hey, this is our findings, and yeah. But there's another thing about it as well, is that the life that the greenery that was produced was also a form of mutation as well. So they still were able to be able to produce life and everything. So it's pretty good. Now we're gonna wait a little bit for these lot to walk in here first, because I've noticed that, like, sometimes if you enter before they walk in, they just don't move. And they get stuck in a bit. So, like, the only way that you have to, like, be able to trigger them is you have to kind of be at a point where you would trigger them and then look at them. It's weird. By the way, the Dark Angel, welcome into the stream as well. Took a break from reading to eat, and I hope you got some good tasty food, my friend. Okay, so what we have to do now is click on Sarah once she's crouching down. We got a few, like, dedicated, like, talking points of each character. And then once we've done the 3 investigations, we can make our way out. And we're going to be hearing a familiar friend. We're going to see a familiar friend as well. And this will be the only point that we have to decrypt a hologram in this run. New Game Plus means that, like, it has one dedicated decryption that you have to do. And it's specifically for this point here. So now that we've talked to... usually we'd be there. He's been getting trapped there a lot for no reason. By the way, there's a lot of dead bodies. Yeah. So we, like, this happened, I think, I don't even know if it happened years ago, but it was very close towards the point of the, when the signal was sent out of Isaac's moon bear comment. And, we find, like, in one of the cutscenes that we will skip, I think it will get into chapter 8. We can cross that bridge when we get to it as well, but yeah. We need to find out just why there are so many just bodies. Why all the colonists, like, are, you know, they're not doing too good. I don't feel so good, Mr. Stark kind of style. All right, so we're gonna get through. We're gonna try to run as immediately. We're gonna jump over, and the doors are opening by themselves. We see like another ASE, but wait, there's another ASE on board this spaceship. And we get to find out is actually Isaac's ASE, who goes to show us what exactly has been going on, if you know what I mean. So here we go. This is our decryption. This is what you would have to do usually. 1 is using an XYZ coordinates that you have to position yourself in. So, oh, come on. There we go. You got to do 3 of them. Skip a cutscene. And the farts. That's exactly what we're going to do. Thank you very much for the follow. Welcome on into the stream. Okay, so as we're making our way up, we're going to have to be doing some sort of like, just some dedicated little bits here. We're still trying to find like the best routing for this, but I think we've got it. So we're going to see what happens. And little Babigo, you have a good day at work. Thank you so much for poking in, saying hey. Always a pleasure to catch in with you. Always a pleasure to catch in with you guys. All right, so again, we don't have to decrypt this one here, but we can unlock these doors here. We're going to open up this MPT transmitter. We're going to aim it for upstairs first, through the dampener. We're We're going to get pulled into a little cutscene. We're going to trigger Isla to do all the rest of the stuff for us here. We could just basically get Isla to do everything for us. So, first thing to do is to move this dampener just in front of this so that it will open up the door. Oh, crap. That was not good. I wasted a lot of time. Shit. Oh, damn it. I lost a lot of time. 1 second. I pressed C too early. So what we got to do is we got to grab this from the outside. Fortunately, I didn't make it, so we got to do this again. Aim it outside, then pick up, please. There we go. Then we can aim it down. Make our way back across. We can put this over here. We can get back into Isla's perspective. We're going to change the position of the MPT beam to just here. Isla can then go around again. And we're going to then pick up this receiver to make sure that it doesn't get dampened over towards here. And see, come on, there we go. And we're going to then pick up this receiver, make our way back, and instead of having to put it in front of the first beam, we can just place it here. And then we open up the door, which I think is actually a little bit of a time save compared to how I did it before, even though I did do it slow. When I did run this game initially, I actually did have some of the decryptions not done, so it's kind of like in a mashup between of NG and NG plus, so I should be able to save some time. Sindre, welcome into the chat as well. Good to see you, buddy. All right, so let's see if we do save any time, even with a little bit of a time loss earlier on. So here we go. Okay, so we saved a bit of time. There is more time that can be saved, but next stream, either way, this strat here is very hard to do. It's one of the hardest things that I've done, and the very first port of call for being able to do this strat is sometimes temperamental, but it can save a good like 2 minutes from a normal gameplay basically. So I'm gonna just explain the strat because for now my brain is a little bit like turbulent for like lore-wise at the moment, but when we do have another person for commentary, we're going to be doing a big rundown of the lore as well. But I'm going to explain the back it up skip. This is going to be requiring some out of bounds work and some positioning of this vehicle and a few other things. To do this in the first place, we're going to be kind of like throwing ourselves back into Halo 2. So you remember in Halo 2 how you were able to get like on top of the map and those little sections there, all by kind of like, kind of like worming the tank up a little bit. Same thing. That's exactly what we're going to be doing for this first little bit, which is actually going to take the rover out of bounds. Initially, what we did was we took ourselves out of bounds firsthand, but then we realized, what if we could take the rover as well? And I managed to pull it off, and from there on, it's just been an amazing, amazing cool strat to pull off. So, a little bit slow to get to this way, but don't worry, we are going to potentially save time. So, let's get ourselves positioned. We need to go backwards up here. Waiting for the lift up. Kind of aiming a little bit more this way. Come on. There we go. I think we're at a good point now, so then we can make our way forwards. Okay, we're already saving time. Okay, so going a little bit slow to making our way through because we don't want to get stuck in that little left ditch there. And then we're going to just navigate our way just through these little, this little area here. Go a little bit slow because, like, sometimes you could, like, again, like, say, hit this sort of point. There is, like, a marathon safety strat, which I can take, which is just going around the way a little bit. Again, you don't want to flip yourself over because then you have to reset and it'll lose a bit of time. We're going to want to park our vehicle just inside of here. Press F to get out. Turn on our flashlight so we can see where we're going. Run and jump over this. And then we're going to be jumping across, like, not the safest way. I will take a marathon safety strat. But we're going to jump across this way, over towards this little area here, for which there's a little barrier, that, like a little bit that we can fall down. We're then going to run and jump over this way, skipping about 2 to 3 minutes. Done. That is the back it up skip. So basically, we're parking the rover that we've taken out of bounds towards a point that allows ourselves to jump over a terrain that we wouldn't be able to get to normally, to then take us to the top area of this whole section here, and we just basically fall back down into it. and safely, of course, without taking any fall damage, because you can take fall damage. So again, you do need to be a bit more careful about that. But when you do that, easy peasy. So this was the first try for the submission, and it's a first try for any form of PB. So this will be a personal best world record run. I can guarantee it. So I'm so happy about that, because that is a very, very hard strat to pull off. Very hard to pull off, because the initial climb of the rover is unpredictable. Also, getting up to that point where you can then start to drive off after your backwards, your backwards drive, also unpredictable. So, the matter of fact, I got it. I'm very, very thrilled. Now, this bit I sometimes fall off as well, so I am going to put a little bit of focus and care of detail to my placement. So, let's do this. Just going to do a little mini grab there so I can get just there. Oh, close. Okay. I'm going to jump over. Grab. Just advance does a little bit, you know. No, 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 no. For God's sake. It's always that slap bang that loses us time. God damn it. Again, it's so unfair at times. It is so unfair. I still think we're going to be saving time, but again, the unpredictability. I probably will do some donations for deaths during this run, because again, you see things like that. Like, you know, if you're a gamer, you don't die anywhere. So let's try this again. Okay. That little glitch there can also be a little bit unpredictable, so you need to be super careful. Oh, okay. Yeah, breathe in, breathe out. Okay, please.
Breathe out.
Yep. See, if I didn't hold on to my left click there, I would have fallen right there. Again, it's all about, like I say, if you do have the accessibility so that, like, you don't have to hold on, it could help out, but again, you got to retrain your brain, so maybe for future, like, marathon runs, I may turn it on if I can get myself to learn how to do that. Either way, I still think this will still be on a form of time save. So I did take a few deaths at that one as well, I think. And it took a long time for me to actually be able to... hold on. I think it's this one. Yes, okay. Once you click on this, that little terminal here, the door will open up immediately. We can get onto this little platform to open up the door. Crouch, even though it threw us upwards for some reason. And because it's going to barricade you from going through that door immediately, so you need to crouch going through. Jump down to this one because it's going to be a faster way to go to get these bits cut off, so they can actually reopen up the MPT terminal like this, because it's stuck. Come on, cut please. There we go. And now that you've done that, you can run the other way around to get yourself back into the main control area of the spacecraft, and then you can re-engage the MPT dish to the beam towards the arc Vita, I think it is, or one of the other arcs, and continue to start to bring life and power back towards everywhere in Mars as much as you can. So here we go. Do Usher, yeah. It is the Usher, yeah beam. Anyway, now that you've reconnected that, you're just going to be walking around for a little bit, and it's going to throw you into another cutscene. I think it's actually going to take us into Chapter 9 shortly. Or a second part of Chapter 8, if I recall correctly. So let's find out, shall we? Anyway, I'm very happy that the backup skip was done effectively and as best as I could, so I'm very, very thrilled with that. Right, I know what to do next. We're going to be doing another strat that myself and Clash Code found recently, with myself finding an even quicker way to do this. This next strat is audio cued, so I'm going to be turning up my audio very shortly so I can hear exactly a point of call for which we can effectively use Isla to help us advance farther, basically. Okay, here comes the audio turn up.
Ayla, you don't think that's...
Park Cappy here. Get Isla out of bounds. Damn it, too late. It's so unpredictable when this happens. You can do this like super fast or super late. You have to wait for a specific sound. There it is. I didn't even need to do a specific sound. I still managed to do it. So, whew. Okay, now that you're in, you're gonna save loads, which will actually bring up the decryption hologram there. There we go, which will actually activate the cutscene, which we do need to skip, which will advance the rest of the game a little bit more. That is tough. That is so tough to do because you have to kind of judge how Isla is moving into that room. Because again, as we mentioned with earlier on, Isla is able to go out of bounds because it's trying to basically quick warp towards you. So you need to try to judge exactly the kind of timing without even seeing anything. And if you can either use the audio cue or you can kind of guesstimate exactly when they would be in that room before they would further spawn towards you, to then be able to open up the door lock from the other side, basically effectively skipping a good little bit of the game, but having to unlock open up cutting open a vent, also a little we would have to look at that body that was lying on the floor, which is actually Isaac's one of the other Lunar Council members as well, who unfortunately met the fate of being hurted by Isaac, because Isaac was just like, yeah, you're going a little bit on the the evil train, and you should be stopped. So basically took out his oxygen pack, which was a very lovely thing to happen, right? So yeah, so with all of that, we just skipped an absolute ton. Now, because we hadn't actually clicked on the body, and we hadn't watched a little hologram beforehand, which would ascertain to more information about it all, the only way that we could have, spawned that hologram in that room was by saving and reloading, and then it just respawns. So we can get lucky by doing that, basically.
We'll make it through, Ada.
So yeah. Hi Turflex, and welcome into the stream as well. Good to have you here, buddy. Doing some marathon commentary for this run, so it's going alright. We might be able to get a PB with this run, because I did a lot of things. I did the back it up skip first try, so that immediately did save some time, even though I did take a death upon our climb up towards the very top of the arc. I still think we're going to be on a PB pace, because our chapter split at this point is a 1 hour 36:45. And we're coming up close to 1:34 with this swapping us over into Chapter 9 very soon. So I feel, even with a little bit of some time loss in the very early parts, we are still going to be on PB pace. So this may be our first sub 2 hour run that we can submit to speedrun.com. Hopefully. I hope so, because again, we've already got so far. We've already been crafting so hard for this run that I know it's achievable. And I love the sunset over there, by the way. I love the refraction of the sun on those cliffs. It's so pretty. So you can fail around here. You can fall down. It's all on a timer base as well. So we're basically waiting for it to go a little bit more dusty and foggy. I'm such a huge fan of the way that you hear Isaac's voice transition into the load. It's really, really clever. So I like the way that they've done a lot of the audio dialogues for this game. Anyway, we saved about 2 minutes and 28 seconds, even more time to save in that chapter. So we are on a world record pace right now. Look at that summer best of a 1:51. God damn. So again, this is throwing us way back towards earlier life, which is going to be explaining a little bit more about why our mother's not been around to begin with. Trigger warnings, this will deal with loss. I know it's kind of a little bit of a spoiler, but I will deal with some loss. So if you're not comfortable with it, I will ask for you to turn your head away for a moment whilst this whole cutscene happens. But yeah, so we whilst this is a big sign that Earth is slowly withering away, and is slowly slowly losing good a lot of it it's not turning into a good place at the moment, because the whole Earth is starting to dust storms up the wazoo. Not normal because of the way that people have been treating Earth. So we've got to hide away and make sure that we look after ourselves, because it's a bit of a twister happening at the moment. Now you can hear Mother outside being they can't really see through the dust storm. Unfortunately, this is where the trigger warning's going to happen. There's a storm happening, and it's going to cause a bit of the house and the barn to fall on top of Mother.
Don't go in there.
So unfortunately, Liz loses their life there because the storm basically collapsed the whole barn on top of them. So it explains a bit more sense for a lot of the earlier bits as well at the same time. And like how, like, you know, when it came to the point of the climbing and the scaling up on that little wall, well, it was just our sister, because that was actually after that flashback, basically. So yeah, so that's kind of like, it's like all kind of like telling the story of like in fragmented parts for flashbacks for why we're here now in a sense as well. So it's kind of like just like yeah, like flashback lore, like, basically. So now that we are over this way, after we had figured out a lot of things on the last arc, we wanted to get over to this final arc, the arc, I think this is now Arc Vita, because this is the actual arc that Isaac escaped on in the first place. So we're wondering what is happening with this arc. There's got to be some kind of information, some kind of like situation leading up to where we can actually maybe potentially find Isaac, or maybe people who might know where Isaac is. We don't know what's going on. But there's a huge old dome here, so what is going on? So we're going to have to find that out. So, oh, beautiful parking right out at the entrance. Except that was terrible because I'm losing time because I can't get around it. Oh, that's such a time loss. My God, that was terrible. Okay, note to self: don't park in front of the doorway, otherwise you can't get around it. GG, Nico. GG. All right, we're gonna use Isla to, again, it's faster to do open up the doors this way, because otherwise Isla's a little bit more slow again towards the scanner. So yeah, getting a crit when you don't want one, precisely. So there's a little bit of time loss. That's fine. That's fine. This is still world record pace. Like, that's probably like about 10-second time loss, but that's no issue. Now, as we're going inside the dome, our oxygen returns. There's civilization. There's people here. There's life. There's a waterfall over here, or some kind of representation of a waterfall that's been contained by tubes, but still, there is life going on. What is happening? Now, we're going to be skipping a cutscene. No, we're going to be skipping a cutscene, but it's basically where we are reigniting and reigniting the lost and found of our dad. We basically find him again. And there he is, after all this time. After all of the situation that happened on the other arc, you know, like why the old people died on a bit. He and a few other people actually managed to escape to this area and basically rebuild from the ground up. And actually then rebuild life. I would have given anything. And you know what? You know, they've been living comfortably for ages. So, I mean, like, to such an extent, because they're quite limited in like all the things that they have, basically. So, you know, they're still hanging in there, just like King Carter's hanging in there. Hi, buddy. Welcome into the chat today. So close to the door. Such a time loss, though. I know. But how you doing, Carter? Lovely to see you in the chat today, buddy. So yeah, Isaac's going to give us a little bit of a catch-up, but at the same time, because we haven't really communicated with Sarah and Ryan for a while, they're going to also try to catch up to us a little bit. Word is going to get out about that, and being like, uh-oh, seems like another rover's parked in for people who we don't actually know this time, because obviously, as we walked in, people were kind of just like, yeah, okay, who's that? And then obviously Isaac's like, okay, everybody calm down. Calm down. This is my daughter. Everything's fine. Let her be. People don't really, like, you know, they're not really, you know, comfy or happy to see us, but they are kind of happy to see another life outside of just the people that are here. But, you know, they're kind of giving the side-eye glances, if you know what I mean. Isaac didn't actually tell anyone that he sent out the message, which makes it even more awkward for everyone else who is on, who's in this little, like, this base at the moment. Because, you know, him having sent out that mission in the first place basically sent the WSA into absolute fritz. And a matter of fact that, like, you know, like, he still had to face all the consequences that happened earlier on. It's kind of just like, yeah, why did you do that to yourself, buddy? I don't know. Or project could have been without the politics and the power plays. Unfortunately, that was down to humanity that it happened. That's basically what this whole game is getting at, is that like even with, you know, civilization potentially trying to start anew, humanity will forever be and will forever be at war and conflict, unfortunately. Which is like obviously what we're hoping for eventually at some point in life for it not to be, but this is kind of like saying, yeah, even on Mars it still happens, so yeesh. So yeah, there sure is a lot of slow walking in this game. We'll wait till this little bit, because here's a fun fact actually, Carter. We have to refrain from doing an early strat for which we don't even have, well, we could not do the slow walking bit, because it actually for a strat later on requires us to run, otherwise we can't jump across. We could actually skip like a good minute as soon as we get out of that cutscene of reuniting with our father and stuff like that. But unfortunately, because we can't run, we got to do this as normal.
Just enjoy and look around first.
Actually, no, we saved more than a minute because we don't have to. Anyway, right. So now Sarah is here as well. So they managed to catch up to us, but then everyone else knows that, like, hey, this is Sarah. They're bad.
She must have taken our rover back over here.
Copy. How did they even get here, Isaac? How did they find us?
First hydration I've had in a while. My throat was a little bit sore.
What?
So they're gonna be like, where did they go? Let's go that way. But they can't have gone far.
Please.
Yeah, we're inside your cat. We're inside where we first hid after the situation of like what was shown very early on. So we knew this was a good little hiding place. But you would have thought that Isaac might have had an inkling where we were. Maybe not. But it's nice that like Kyoken have actually got their name as like part of the foam for the foil stuff of the house production. So it's kind of a nice little nod to themselves. It's cheeky. It's cheeky. So now that Isaac and crew have escaped, we've got to try and find another way to get out and basically bring this ark back to Earth so that they can re-establish power and life back to Earth. Because again, they've taken all the like the essential like the fauna and the species of Earth so that they can recreate it. But because they're not able to recreate it now on Earth, we have the ability to basically heal Earth again. So that's only if Isaac's willing, but Isaac's not as willing because he's just like, Earth's not a good place. Like, we can rebuild everything on Mars. It's fine. Everything's fine, but not. Did Isaac literally recreate the house of child? Yes. No, so it's the childhood house on Earth. Yes. He couldn't let go of the memories of Kathy and family, so he wanted to kind of like to forever keep that memory by rebuilding the house. Yes, that's correct. Official conduit, thank you very much for the 10 months of support. Welcome on into the stream. Alerts are off for a little bit whilst we do our marathon commentary, but thank you very much for the sub. Hugely appreciated. Okay, now here comes the sort of like the secondary strats that we could only do because this is a point where we can run. So get ready for like another little sort of like out of bounds in a second, because we could have done a bit of out of bounds like way earlier on, but again, unfortunately, because we don't have access to run, this is only where we can do it. And we were so lucky to be able to find this little skip here, is all I can say. Mikado, thank you very much for the raid. Welcome on in, raiders, to the stream. We're currently in the midst of our marathon commentary, so alerts and everything are currently turned off. But hopefully you had a lovely time in your stream. And what were you up to? Tell me more, my friend. Resident Evil 2. Hopefully it was some good runs today. Right, so for this little skip here, again, we were very lucky to find this. We were just like trying to like crouch around to see if we could find anywhere that we could go to potentially get ourselves out of bounds to go where we need to. I could have actually run there, but I wasn't actually properly running. So here we go. Now we're outside of bounds. Well, we're in and out of bounds. Crouch underneath here, run. Crouch underneath here and run. What we need to do from now here is we need to get underneath this little rock to take us up and around. Careful. Sometimes it will bring you up and through it. So you need to get yourself just under. Oh, come on. Come on. There we go. If you don't get the right navigation, it will poke you back inbounds, if you know what I mean. So you do have to be careful. So it's a tiny bit of time loss. And Neo Cosmonaut, welcome into the chat as well. Welcome on into the stream today. So again, now that we have to run, when we're in here, we can actually do the things that we need to do. Now, we just get a lot here. So we can actually go into that room if we want to, which you're not actually supposed to get into. cut open these little bits. Make your way through as quickly as you can, because again, we got to get towards the end as quickly as we can. We got to leave onto the Arc Vita and head away back to Earth as quickly as possible. So here we go. Now we got the run. This is what we wouldn't be able to do beforehand. We wouldn't be able to run and jump over here. So this was preventing us from being able to actually even,
Find another way up there now.
you know, get to where we need to, if you know what I mean. Billimus, thank you for the good luck as well. Welcome on into the chat today. And Doink, welcome on into the chat as well. We got one more panel to open up. I'll get out of the way. There we go. Now, this is where some fun begins. It's not over yet. We got to climb up here.
I don't want to lose you.
You already lost us. And now we're getting out of here because we don't like this. Okay, now we can jump over. Now we can do the timing, the sequence quickly enough. We could potentially jump up on top of here. We can't, so I fought to my death. Okay, so I've learnt. Don't risk it. You won't be able to get the cycle, so this is a time loss. So let's get up here again quickly. Uh-oh. Okay, unfortunately, I learned the hard way, so... come on. Really? He wouldn't let us jump at all. Okay, so it's even more time loss. I don't know how close we're going to be to our PB, so... Eesh. Okay, let's just go quickly. So we have to wait. Come on. Okay, here we go. I'm a bit nervous about our time right now because I should have just taken it easy. Unfortunately, I didn't. Okay. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go from this point over here. Good. I think that's actually a little bit of a time save compared to my PB for that point, so might have made up a few seconds. Okay.
I promise you that I'll be better. I'll make sure you're safe.
Ow.
You never hurt us again.
Ow. Come on.
Kathy, please answer me.
Whew, close. Okay. I'm curious about my time right now. So again, we're trying to basically go through alternative routes to be able to get up to the Arc Vita and stuff like that. We could have taken the elevator up, but again, they haven't really made it easy for us. So this is the only ways that we could get around. Isaac's going to chase behind us to try to stop us, but we're able to stop the door and get the door shut before Isaac... Whoa! Annie, you're right. Oh, there you are again. Okay. That was hilarious. We're going to try to hear Isaac out for a reason about like why he's been trying to do all of this in the first place. But, you know, we don't really agree with the action, so we're going to leave, whilst we leave everyone here to kind of like deal with it and have to kind of like rebuild without any chance of any further reproduction or like, you know, like any of the green life, because now we're going to take it all back. Okay. That was weird. Okay, that was weird. So we need to get Sarah over towards the spaceship because, again, her wounds are completely opening up again. She is in a great deal of pain. She's been dealing with this like pretty much ever since she crash landed onto Mars. So now we got to do what we can. Ryan has also got another... actually, no. We bring Isaac with us. Oh, yeah. Oh, excuse me. Isaac, we've captured.
Sarah, sit right.
And we're imprisoning him. He's going in willingly, basically. Sorry, I got my story confused there. Okay, so here we go. Check. So yeah, so Ryan is also going to be 7822. Also going to be trying to bring back one of the other arcs. Unfortunately, not in the best way possible, and he's killed a few people on the way there. So Isaac, like Ryan, is not good people either. He lied to us basically. So it's a bit of a risky situation for what's going down, but as long as we can get everything back to Earth, everybody's happy. We can all live a happy life. You know, everything's fine. Right? Everything's fine. Slash S, maybe.
Sarah, vent off lines.
Okay, so I'm trying to remember what we've got to do here. We've got to do our last little terminal bits, and then we can get ready to complete this run.
Go. Starting
Go.
automatic ground launch sequencer.
Which is these ones here. Boom. See, it does give you the visual for what you need to do, so it does make things a little bit easier.
Starting auxiliary power units.
Okay, here we go. Ooh. There we go.
Done.
Okay, down to 0. It doesn't tell you what you have to do there. It just prompts you, so you got to do that super quick. Bring out the retracted beam. There we go.
Cap retracted. Visors checked.
Visors down, and then we're going to launch off back towards Earth,
Transferring ground.
and everything will be fine. Well, everything will be fine. Here we go. Shit, that was a time loss. Boom.
Transfer complete. We're on internal power.
Then press the button.
Sarah, initiate sound suppression.
Yeah, beanie cap, exactly.
Initiated.
All right.
Helium-free thrusters.
Here comes some time loss. Come on, quickly. So time we can save later on anyway.
Thrusters up.
Up we go. Come on, how much time? How much time are we going to lose? Okay, skip. We lost 48 seconds, so we can definitely save more time there soon. So, this is the new world record personal best of a sub 2 hour speed run, which is going to be around, ooh, what looks like
Good.
52,
I love you, I'm Zaddy.
maybe, no, 53 maybe, something like 53.
He made it.
So 150, 52 plus
I'm
maybe.
so sorry, Sam,
Either way,
for everything.
the last run I did on my YouTube channel was over 2 hours, just over 2 hours. And it's only
did you
like
come after me?
earlier on this week that I was able to get a, well, I think it's like beginning of this week, maybe last Sunday, that I was able to get our very first sub 2 hour run. Even Clash Code, the other member of the community, was thinking like, you know, you can't go faster than this. And then I turned around with a 154. So we have now proven that even with some time loss, which we
I'm
can
gonna
get an
try
even
right now.
faster run, the potential for a 151 is inbound. So for the meantime, this is your new world record, and it's going to be, after this cutscene skip, done. A 153.23, second world record personal best for Deliverers Mars of the New Game Plus any percent. Now, there will be a lot more practice for commentary, seeing as this is such a new run. I'm going to be doing a lot of like commentary write-up and practice, and hopefully get some friends involved to commentate with me. A huge shout out again to Clash Code for helping me out so much in the discovery for loads of different techniques and strategies. And thank you to this community as always for supporting us during the submission, the marathon submission and recording attempts. Whew! 153.23. That is a great run to submit with, and it's some really awesome strats, really cool like showcasing of like the out of bounds strats, just little optimizations that can be done from here. So hell yeah, hell yeah. So thank you all so much for watching this run as well. I am uploading this to my personal YouTube as well, so if you are watching on YouTube and you've enjoyed this run, please feel free to hit the follow button and, well, sorry, the subscription button, different platform. So hit the subscription button if you haven't already. Hit a like on the video. Leave a comment if you think you can beat this time, or if you've got any cool little ideas that you can suggest for strats findings, because we're always looking for new runners. Speedrun.com/DeliverersMars. Hit us up in the Discord as well. And I'll be getting a tutorial series out for this one, hopefully within the next few weeks. So for those new runners who want to learn this run, you'll get some very detailed and descriptive tutorials for you very soon. For the meantime, actually, sorry, for validation purposes, I will actually, before I do it, we have, like, for validation purposes, well, for what I've done anyway, we probably don't need to, but what I'm going to say is that we need to get bring ourselves back to the main menu so that we can actually showcase that, it shows the specific end visual of, like, because, like, the Isla backgrounds change per chapter or per checkpoint. So we need to go through the credits, get back into the main menu, and you should see a very specific scene, and that'll be the validation for the run. There, this is the visual that we need. Okay, so, run is valid. Okay. But no, thank you everyone for watching. I'll catch you lots very, very soon. And thank you so much for watching this marathon run. And thank you again for GDQs for hopefully watching this mission as well.